Hi, and welcome back to the Great People Only podcast with me, Elise Freshwater-Blizzard. We're very welcome to have you on this podcast.
Really appreciate you coming on. It's been, like I say, we have been watching everything that you do for quite some time, and it's very entertaining, funny, interesting, and the fact that you do it all yourself is pretty crazy. I always thought that you had a bit of a team behind you because you kind of present yourself as like a TV person. You have like that TV presenter thing going, but you just do it all on your own.
Yes, that's correct. Thank you. I appreciate that. It's nice to know that people think that. But really, I'm just an ordinary, normal girl who works a part-time minimum wage job and cleans toilets. Oh, woe is me. No, I do, but I love TV. Always wanted to be a presenter. I just think presenting's so magical and fascinating. And I wanted that for myself. So I started by just doing it on my own, and I made my first series perhaps maybe 7 or 8 years ago, straight onto YouTube, and no one really cares, etc. But my family and the people close to me care. That's what's important.
Yeah, that's all you need to impress these days, right? You know.
And then it just grows from there. The journey begins, and then it's only this summer actually I decided to let go completely because I realised that being a very serious presenter is all very well and good, and I did hone down on my craft, but it only gets you so far, and I became so, perhaps the word is impatient, but just almost annoyed. I was like, do you know what? It's not working, so I'm going to give up. And I gave up. And my version of giving up was to stop being so serious and just be myself. And when I started to do that, I realized how much I love comedy, and my roots were in comedy. So I went back to Monty Python. I went back to old British comedy like Black Books, things like this. And I read every day on the bus to work. I used to read their scripts and figure out how I could write my own, in my own fashion, in my own way, not copying or anything. And then I studied stand-up, and I did that for a bit, hated it. And
improv, good to know for what you do, though, isn't it? Yeah.
Love improv, still do improv. And it helps with my social anxiety as well. And so when I go out and when I write now, I'm very much whimsy and able to be myself. But it took me a long time to get there. Because I needed to learn that it's okay to be myself on camera. Because I thought being a presenter meant dressing very much down, being very acceptable to everybody and everyone, and talking in a particular way. And I think that's wrong. And I was wrong. And so then I decided to sort of slowly find myself. I made a series called The Middle of Nowhere, where you can see across the span of the series, the goal was to find myself in my presenting voice, find my own presenting voice. And you can see across the series, I start dressing more vintage because actually that's what I always wanted to do.
Oh, okay.
And I wanted to wear makeup, and I wanted to be silly, and I wanted to teach others, but I wanted to do it in a way where I would make myself laugh when I wrote. And
yeah, 'cause it doesn't matter what anyone thinks of your jokes as long as you make yourself laugh. They're the funniest jokes anyway. So
I wrote this whole 5-episode series, which was a comedy sketch show, and I didn't get to use it. And when I really, really gave up this summer, I used some of those ideas in my reels. So one of the ideas was jumping into Crooks Valley Park fully clothed. And a lot of my ideas, they come from the environment around me. So I started to see Sheffield very differently ever since I came here. Actually, about 10 years ago, I saw the city as a canvas. And back then it was very blank. But as time has gone on, I've managed to add my own colour onto it. So when I see like Crooks Valley Park, I think, oh, I just want to jump into it, much like people do. Or when I see perhaps The Kiss in front of the Fagans pub, when I see Pete McKee's work, I don't just see it as work on a wall. I see it as part of the city that is like a jigsaw, and you can walk around and not appreciate it like probably many people do, but you can also appreciate it and add to it. And how do you add to that? Because you can, as an artist, I sometimes feel like an artist, sometimes I feel like a comedian, and sometimes I feel like a journalist. But as an artist, the artist within me sees a piece of work and thinks, how can I add to it? And that's where all these ideas are coming from. It's from Sheffield. It's like a symbiotic feedback where I see something in Sheffield that makes me go, oh, and then I'm able to add to it. But yeah, all of those comedic ideas that I had in this huge comedy program, I scrapped it, and I've just been using little bits of those throughout the city anyway. But I'm kind of glad, because it would have taken a lot of energy to make that series, and instead I funneled them all into little like 5-second clips on Instagram and on YouTube that people seem to gravitate to. They seem to like. I didn't think this would happen, but they seem to actually like that I'm weird. And
yeah, it's
a weird one.
I think you was like what you were saying earlier about how you weren't just doing stuff that people wanted to see. You thought you'll stick to doing what you're owning, and your audience finds you eventually. And it seems that that's kind of happening quite in droves at the moment. So, but how come? What's the history? Is that something you've always like been fascinated with? Have you just always wanted to work that in? Because I know you do historical stuff, and like especially like the Bronze Age toilet the other day was pretty like. It would like, it's just taking a topic like that and like making it interesting, funny. You know, it's a skill. What is it about that? Have you always been interested in it, or is it like a niche for you?
History has always been a thing, and it's a great starting route, and it's a great route into history unlocks a part of my soul that needs to be fed. History is dark and twisted and beautiful and confusing and nuanced and doesn't give you the answers you want. You can ask any question to a historian and they'll say, well, you know, it's nuanced. And the more you create history content, the more you realize you can't actually give any straight answers. And you feel even guilty. I feel guilty for making history content a lot of the time because it feels that there's so much. But that's why I love it. It's a plethora. You have the whole of human history, and you can get to pick whatever bits you like and explore it at any time period. And I think it's very joyous. When I was a child, I was obsessed with ancient Egypt. That was
likewise.
Yeah. What kid isn't like into dinosaurs?
Every kid.
It's accessible. And for me, history has always been that way. And for a few years, I did caving. I used to go caving. And so I made
brave human being. That is the wildest hobby. I think
That's okay. It's okay. It's okay to shudder. Ooh, caving's horrid. Who would do it, right? Crazy people, me. So I used to make documentaries about caves and how... Is that okay?
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, it is a unfortunate byproduct of being on West Street, you know.
There's the 1800 sound of a tram passing by us.
The Sheffield mega tram.
Don't you just love the steel industry
the
of
history
Sheffield?
behind,
You feel it shuddering through the city. But yeah, so again, like history is accessible. I used to make caving documentaries and focused on the geological aspect of the history, and I could talk about the geology of caves, and then I could also do a bit. The adventurer bit was really good, where people could be like, ooh, a bit disgusted by how awful it all was, which you could play it up to camera and be like, oh, I might die. I'm not going to die.
Like Bear Grylls.
Wow. Yeah. I was so Bear Grylls, but I was so cute when doing it. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? If I did it again, I'd wear so much more makeup. That's the only thing I regret about
I think there'd be a great niche in that, fully dolled up caving.
Yeah.
I think there's a series waiting.
But I really like dressing up the part for my my work. It gives me a chance to be me, and it's also it can be very threatening for people when I walk around Sheffield. I can tell, as it can be joyous, because people want to put me in a box from the way I dress.
Yeah,
I think that's obvious. Can I tell you a little secret?
Yes.
When I was in year 4, there was a book of lots of ancient Egypt, and there were pictures of mummies in there. And I used to, this is so bad. Oh, this is how I'm going to get cancelled. I used to kiss the mummies in the book for fun. And then I used to force my friend to kiss the mummies in the book.
Like drawings,
get your head
pictures,
down.
yeah, kiss that mummy.
Yeah. King Ramesses II in particular, he has a great hairline. So King Ramesses II lived till about 90. What? I think 98.
That's mental.
And the genes at the time must have been insane.
Yeah.
But you see his mummified ass body today.
Let's have a little look at this.
Okay.
We'll be right back.
You look at his hairline and you don't tell me you might not give that a chance.
But I wanted to say, in regards to the history, that sometimes actual history can be a lot stranger than fiction anyway. When you're reading through stuff, and especially stuff that the Egyptians, people like to credit the stuff the Egyptians did to aliens because they can't fathom, that they had the technology to do it, which is ridiculous, obviously. But some of the stuff that was done in history is a lot stranger than trying to make stuff up. So you've got this unlimited bank to kind of draw from, aren't you? And especially with us being in Yorkshire, we've got the castle site. You're not going to be short for content, really, are you? Is what I mean.
But it's so great because Sheffield feels very untapped. Because Sheffield is a plethora, a deep mine of chock-a-block diamonds worth of information, and people. Well, some people care, but when I first arrived here, it felt like people weren't shouting about it. It feels like Manchester celebrates itself so warmly and so interconnectively, and every artist is celebrated. And Sheffield's still working on that. Sheffield needs some time, I think. It's really trying at the moment, and it's got so many great festivals going on and so many great things, but for me, I felt as an artist, as a presenter, I felt more able to explore Sheffield than a big city like Manchester, because I felt like I wasn't a needle in the haystack. Yeah,
I'm from Manchester, so I did kind of feel like that eventually.
If you do something here, it's big.
Yeah.
But if you do something in Manchester, it feels smaller.
I think because the accolades of Manchester's history, the Cottonopolis, of it being the cotton industry, the industrial town, the Oasis, the birth of the computer, Alan Turing, it's almost like these countless things that happened in Manchester that you have to do something huge now to kind of get a foothold in anything. So I do sometimes get a bit blown away by the achievements that have come out of Manchester, and then, like you say, here in Sheffield, there just seems to be quite untapped still, doesn't it?
Yeah. But that's why I feel like I can so strongly be myself here, because it feels like a haven for creatives in a way that, come on, guys. There's not many people here doing stuff, so if you do stuff, you're going to get noticed even more. So let's do stuff together.
Still got its soul as well.
Yeah.
That's and I hate to drag it through the mud, but Manchester's image has just changed in the last 10 years. Don't even recognise it anymore. But here it still feels... I've only been here a year, but it still feels like... this is probably what Sheffield's always been like.
Yeah.
Which is nice. Where were you from originally?
I'm from Hampshire.
Hampshire.
All the way down south.
Yeah.
So I don't fit in here at all. People come up to me, they say, "Oh, but you're very, very posh, aren't you?" And I try to say, well, if you know where I really, really come from, you wouldn't say that. But they're like, no, but you are posh and you talk like the Queen. And I'm like, yes, no, but if you placed me in my hometown, I went last week, If you place me there, taxi driver immediately says, "Oh, where are you from?" And I say, "Andover." And he says, "Oh, from Andover, that's sketchy. That's why haven't you shanked me yet?"
Oh,
Shank
dear.
is a
Yeah,
word for knifing.
yeah.
These sorts of comments I get all the time down south. The accent, I was actually, interesting enough, I was sent to school half an hour away. So I was born and raised in Andover, which is not very well known for being a cultural epicenter, let's just say that.
Okay.
But you drive half an hour away, you get to a town called Winchester. And Winchester used to be the capital of the UK. Used to be called Vinter Belgarum, which is when the Romans had it. And it was very small, but it was great for a city, but it was just too small. So what they did is they moved the city, the capital city of the UK, to London. Right, long time ago. So Winchester has never ever forgot that in its history. So everyone is up their own arse. But I studied and I went to secondary school in Winchester, and part of the reason my parents did that, I got on the bus an hour every day each way and back, because the accent was what they wanted me to have. Okay. So this accent has been raised in Winchester.
It's premeditated on your parents' part.
Yeah, and I'm really glad, actually.
Yeah.
Hated it at the time. Hated the idea of not being traveling on a bus for an hour there and back every day. But it let me have this accent, and because of that, and I hate this about media, I'm very, very strongly against it, but accent discrimination is real. Whenever you talk, you give people data that they extrapolate and make their own. So they hear you're from Yorkshire and they think perhaps you're kinder or friendlier, but you might also be more uneducated. They hear my voice and they might think that I'm unfriendlier but more educated. And that is bullshit. That is bullshit, and it's stupid, and I hate it. But as we go across the years and we're getting, I think Instagram and social media is changing us, because I think more and more companies like the BBC and just media companies across the board, you can see they're hiring more and more people that have accents which don't sound like mine, which is imperative to the media landscape. So it also means, for me personally, it means I'm never ever going to be on like BBC Radio Sheffield as a presenter. I'm never going to be in a regional, local Sheffield production, which part of me mourns it, but another part of me is like, that is okay, because I've come here about 8 years ago, 10 years ago, however long it's been, as a visitor. And I think if you're not born and bred in Yorkshire, then perhaps you don't have that right, because the roots are very working class.
Super.
And I'm privileged to have this accent, 100%. And I'm privileged to have been raised in Hampshire, which is so much closer to London. When you think about the UK as a whole, the money flows out from London. That's what it is. Do you know something that really tells me this is that when I get on a train up north and travel all the way down south, there's a moment that always hits me when I get on the train down south and I get on a carriage and I sit down, I look around and think, oh no, I'm in first class. I didn't book a first class ticket. I should get off. And then I realize it is second class. They just have better trains down south.
Yeah.
Because all the money is flowing from London. So they just have more funds in the southern parts.
Anyone that's been on the Bolton to Manchester Northern Rail train will definitely agree with you there.
But I love it. This is the thing, is that it feels like, this is what I feel like in Sheffield. It's an underdog. It's the place that it's not being funded enough, and it's not being thrown money at enough. But it also means it feels like you can get away with a lot more. It feels like, you ever played Skyrim?
Behave, of course.
Okay, right. You're in Skyrim. I think it's Riften I'm talking about. Is it? When I played Skyrim, every single time I make a new character, I always go to the Thieves Guild, first.
In the rat way.
In the rat way,
Yeah.
okay. Because I love the idea of being stealthy, always an archer.
Stealth archer
being
just
stealthy,
works. Yep.
being the underdog. I like the idea that no one knows I'm here until I'm in their face.
I have a feeling our YouTube watch history would be quite similar.
Oh, we're so lame. We're so lame. This is brilliant. I love this. But that's the feeling I have across the board in my career and everything. I feel like, especially, when I came to Sheffield, that feeling fit in. I felt like, is it Riften?
Yeah, that's where the Thieves Guild is.
Yeah.
Riften, yeah.
I feel like I'm in Riften when I'm in Sheffield. It's very much like calm, peaceful. You can see the mountains, you've got the running water. I feel at home in that sense, and you can go to the Peak District and I feel very at one with the local forest, the local woods and things like that, and the nature. It's so beautiful. And then the people are much more friendly, they're much more open. You can just go up and talk to them, they'll say anything.
Literally.
They'll come up to you and they'll say anything.
Yeah.
It's just
Why are you wearing
brilliant.
that?
You never know. You never know. I'm not saying I'm a complete rock star or anything, but sometimes I do feel like it, just because I like playing on people's expectations of me.
Yeah, of course.
And yeah, it's a lot of fun to be in Sheffield to do that. If you're that sort of person, Sheffield is the place for you.
Yeah, because it's just I think there's a lot of stuff going on that people don't realise as well, like really cool nightlife venues.
Oh my God, you'll never guess. The other day, I was talking to someone. I went into a store and they got talking about an event they were running, and they were complaining about how, oh my goodness, there's the thing about Sheffield is that everyone's running events, but they all want to keep it to themselves because they want it to be their special secret thing. Then they started talking about their own event. They were like, oh, we're doing this comedy gig here this night. And I was like, cool, I'll tell my friends. They said, no, don't tell your friends. We don't want anyone to come. Just like, what is going on? It's Sheffield. It can't celebrate its own success.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Why would you not want people to come? That is crazy.
Dude, we locked in on Alex Turner. We never left that.
Yeah.
We've never left it.
Yeah.
We need to celebrate people like Pete McKee a lot more. Bubba 2000.
Yeah, I think seeing Pete McKee's work just knocking about is great. Especially on if you're not from here as well, you're not going to kind of know you'll see it and be like, oh, Pete McKee, and realise how much history there is and how much the guy actually does for the scene and stuff like that.
Because imagine a Sheffield without Pete McKee.
Imagine Sheffield without its street art and stuff, because the street art here is.
But again, with this Riften motif, if you go anywhere in Sheffield, you'll see graffiti in places it shouldn't be.
Mm-hmm.
It's in places like, if you go into Megatron, which again is the underground space in Sheffield where the Victorian culverts are. I love going there. My favourite place. If you see me there, say hi.
Yeah, because I often spend time in the Victorian culverts. Yeah.
But bro, don't you love seeing the rats? And the spiders, so many spiders down there. Found some fish in there. It's so great to see the crustaceans in there too. But it's also, by the way, that river is being protected, which is brilliant. And we're trying to get more life back into the rivers. And it's recently been opened up on platform 5 at the train station. So you can have a little look in. Not that there's much to see, but where was I going with this? Oh yeah, so the graffiti.
Oh yeah.
Right, so you'll see this, you'll walk around the streets of Sheffield and you'll see a piece of graffiti and you'll think, oh my God, how did they weren't allowed to do that.
Must have literally been hanging upside down, one-handed, whatever.
Yeah.
Crazy.
But that's exactly what Sheffield is for. And what's cooler than that is that people will talk about it. So many conversations, people will say, oh my God, did you see the piece of graffiti that's on the Megatron walls, and how did they get there, and they're not allowed there, and things like that. It's brilliant. I love it so much.
Yeah, we took other people on a little walk around Sheffield, looking at all, because there's a cool map, isn't there, the Sheffield street art map that you can use, and you can use it to plan out a route and everything.
I didn't know about this.
Yeah, it is. It's really, really cool. Some of the pieces have been up on the walls for 20, 30 years. There's just one there on Westfield Terrace, which has been there for a long time. But this these culverts and stuff. I didn't even know that was. I know there's usually a lot of stuff underneath cities.
Yeah.
But urban exploring has always evaded me as a hobby.
It's risky, and it's technically against the law. We'll be having a normal conversation,
And it'd just be like,
so I do look to invisible cameras, and I'll just
that
go,
is fucking great.
after they say something, maybe they say something awesome or cool, I'll just turn away from them and go, and that's my best friend. Do you know what it's like to have really funny friends like that? And then, I just think that I'm on a TV show all the time. When I moved to Sheffield, as I said, it became a blank canvas. And then recently, in the past year and a half, I decided to start seeing Sheffield as New York City. Mm-hmm. I've never been to New York City, don't know what it's like, but I have
massive grid.
Massive grid.
Yeah.
Well, I have a projection of New York City, what it's like, through media, through modern media, and what people say it's
Of
like,
course,
Sex and the City, etc. So I thought, why not just pretend Sheffield is New York City? So I put I've got a big like proper professional photography, this huge print of New York City on my wall in my room, and at the top I've put a piece of paper on it, big piece of paper, and on it says Sheffield in big letters. Yeah. So as soon as I started doing that, I see how Sheffield is New York City. For example, we do have a Statue of Liberty. It's at the Washington, if you've ever seen it.
The pub.
Yeah. The Washy.
Yeah,
Has
the good
a
old
statue.
Washy.
Yeah, has a Statue of Liberty. And we also have Mother Gaia, who's just been set up in the Park Hill Flats, who's this big, huge wooden statue, and they're building some gardens around her. And she, if you look at her, looks a little bit like the Statue of Liberty. And then there's just so many coincidences. And then as a journalist, when I do all my little history bits and bobs everywhere, I start to get recognized on the street. I start to feel like Sarah Jessica Parker walking through New York City. The city is mine sort of vibe, you know. Not saying it as a big-headed thing, but I've sort of building the city around me so that I see it as a blank canvas, that I'm the artist. And it's not a main character thing, but it's allowed me to take full control of my life. And it's been exciting since.
Obviously, I would love to kind of get into like the history side of stuff with you, because you present history in such a fun way. And educational content is like massive now. And I think a lot of people, even like my age and people in like the older generations, especially Gen Z, they're learning a lot of stuff they should have learned in school because they've forgotten it, but they're learning it from people such as yourself and creators and everything. So why do you think that is? Why do you think there's been this rise in educational, I don't want to call it influencer content, this kind of TikTok funny, I guess, content? Why do you think that's been so popular when it's not the most popular school subject?
Yeah. Well, I think we're all yearning for a particular time in our lives when the DK textbooks were the simple and fun. We, the 97 kids, perhaps, or, 95 kids, we're just yearning for that time in year 4 when we loved the ancient Egyptians and we just sat and things made a little bit more sense back then. And now we are coming in, especially the kids who were raised on dial-up like myself. This is just from personal experience, but I was tired already in like the first year that TikTok came out, and I did have a TikTok account and then I deleted it after the first year.
Is it called Musically then, or Grammarly or something?
There's so many. There's been many.
Yeah.
I think Vine was actually a really good space because it allowed creativity, because you had a limit of 7 seconds.
Yeah.
But now everything is advertising and everything is, and I think things are heating up literally and figuratively.
Thanks a lot.
Is AI, yeah. And I think with the rise of AI, what we're seeing, and this is just from my perspective, the adult kids who are now in the job market and just want to have a bit of fun at the end of the day scrolling on their phone, they are just so sick and tired of where the internet has taken them, because we remember a time when it was so simple. I remember playing on Girls Go Games, something like that, or Club Penguin, and it was simple and easy, and it felt like flow state. And now it feels like, oh, that video I just watched isn't actually real. And so I think the people are yearning, especially the younger ones, they're yearning for something that's real, that's engaging, but makes them feel like they have done something that's made them work.
Stimulating.
Yeah,
stimulating,
they want to feel like they've done a bit of work, or they feel like they've done a bit of, I don't want to say research, but they've learned something. They want to come away and think, oh, I really actually learned something there. And so to mix history and comedy for me was actually just really natural. The way that
Blackadder.
On my journey, on my specifically strange journey through life, when I was a kid, I was allowed to stay up later if I watched comedy with my mum and dad, and that would be Monty Python, that would be Father Ted. And because of that, I have the comedy in me. And then I grew up on Horrible Histories, and the profound effect that those 5 of them, the 5 Horrible Histories actors, the they thems, I think they're called, them theirs, they are absolutely incredible actors who allowed a new generation to think, actually, history is applicable to me.
Most of everything that I claim to know about 1980s England comes from watching the young ones. You know?
Don't even get me started on the young ones. Oh my God.
It's still, if you watch it now, it's exactly the same shit we're going through.
But do you know what's interesting is that when I watched the young ones for the first time about 2 years ago, I was watching it through the lens of my eyes. And then I was also watching it through the lens of my mother's eyes, who in her generation, she would get home from school and have this one allotted time to watch this one program that her mother disapproved of. Because how dare you show people mucking around? Where do we see this again? We see it in Dick and Dom decades later. When I get home from school, the one thing my mum doesn't want me to watch is Dick and Dom. It's fascinating. You want to push boundaries whilst making it for kids. It's terrifying to do. I sometimes think I could do that, but I've always thought to myself, I never make content for kids. I feel like I'm too much of a rebel, you know?
You see it a lot, especially with history content. What kind of stuff are you seeing in your research in your sphere, that's being pushed as fact?
Yeah.
But it's not. What's one of the biggest myths that you're seeing?
Oh my God. There's an account, and I can't remember what the name is. I don't even perhaps want to say it, because then it gives attention to that account.
Yeah, don't bother with the name.
But if I describe it, everyone will know it. So it's a young woman who is always wearing a tank top and is very slender and blonde, and she's taking a selfie video, and she's walking around ancient Rome, and she's like, hi guys, I am going around ancient Rome right now, and you would never believe what is happening. I added the vocal fry. I don't think she does that. I'm just really good at vocal fry. But all the facts are half facts.
Yeah.
All of the scenery is generated, and it's all kind of actually that's not actually what would be happening at all. She went round Pompeii, and in the background, all the people are walking in the gutters of the streets where they wouldn't have actually been walking in real life in the actual place, things like that. And perhaps they might not be wearing the toga right, or or the wrong color.
It's just all Gen AI stuff.
Yeah, it's pseudo facts, and it's upsetting because that account instantly has millions of followers. And it's upsetting for me because I've been working really hard. I took 3 years off of posting online to secretly make a show called The Middle of Nowhere.
Yeah.
And the show is about me, the presenter, traveling back in time and being in these spaces. Thousands of years ago, I would dress up as a caveman and interview myself. Like, the dedication to the bit was real, and I wouldn't care what it would take. I would just do it. And to then just have someone, just a man, just generate a young woman to do that, it's profoundly upsetting.
Yeah, it's that's happening with the making AI OnlyFans content. So
and AI has made it so that nobody can hide who's in control in our media. Nobody can hide. But on the plus side for a creator like myself is that maybe I'll go in my career, I'll go through some horrible, horrible things because people can abuse my image. But I will always have fans who know I'm a real person and who knows that it's almost like within my mistakes that I make, it makes me more powerful. With all the acne that flares up on my face, shows a woman who's trying and who gets greasy and who, you know, if my roots grow out. And, you know, I can't wait to get old. It's one of those things where I'm going to age gracefully because I have the chance to do it. But I wonder 20, 50 years from now on, where is that AI content creator going to be? And where is the man that made her going to be? What I want everyone to know about me is that everything I've ever done has come off of the back of my soul. And no one, like, as you said, you think I have a content team around me. Actually, what I do is I go out with a bestie and I say, hey, do you want to get a coffee? I'll buy you a coffee. And then, can you just film me do this? They have no idea what I'm going to say. Oh my God. Sometimes when I'm with my mates and I just say, can you just record me do this quick? They are behind my phone camera pissing themselves because they're like, oh my God, we didn't know she was going to say that. And it really comes from my soul. And I think the thing is about this is that the majority of my career has been boring because of that, because that's not an easy journey. That's not quick. That's not fast. But the AI influencers who are getting that quick, fast, easy route by sexualizing women, degrading women and children, I think not only are they already living in their own hell, but they will be living in their own hell for the eternity of their life, because there is no way to move forward from that ever. So in a way, I feel quite lucky that I'm a real human being and not being manipulated. Yeah. It's tough to talk about.
It is. It's very tough. And I think that the sooner... I don't know what people can do about it either. That's the scary thing.
It feels helpless.
Yeah.
It feels helpless, but because it feels so helpless, it's part of the reason I gave up. It's part of the reason I do silly stuff online now, because the more I am myself, the more people can see the different sides of me, the more they can realize that I'm a human and not, Christ, a bot. And it's just so depressing to think as soon as I seem to have gained any traction, suddenly the dead internet theory is coming to life. And
just bots arguing, posting,
and
arguing.
you know, it gives me that perspective as well when I get a hate comment that seems just out of the blue. A lot of the hate comments are incoherent and they're not spelt correctly. I think bot. Because like, what else? Why would you say that thing?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, and as well, you're not, you've got like drama tubers and people who thrive off kind of making like this stupid, I don't know, like drama content is massive. Like we were talking about before about rage bait as well. People just making ridiculous rage bait stuff now. Are you finding yourself just having to hold fast and not chase trends or whatever?
I'm not very good at chasing trends, I have to say. Yeah. I never have been. I'm not very good at it, but I noticed that I've become better at knowing what the algorithm wants. So I've catered my content to the Instagram algorithm quite a lot more recently, but I'm doing it for the love of the game more than anything else. And I'm also doing it in my own way. So like with the Crooks Valley Park one, I'm coming out of the water. I'm in full garb in the water, and then I'm coming out. And that was a decision I'm made for the love of the game. For like, I love seeing how far I can push myself. And there's something else in there with my head, like, well, okay, that would get so many followers, and then use the hashtags correctly, and then maybe tag someone. So if I'm working with the BBC, I'll tag the BBC, and then people could see that I'm building a career. It's hard to talk about because I'm being authentic whilst also trying to build for a machine for the same time.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think I'll ever lose. The end game is to make my own TV series. And so whatever I have to do to get to that end game, as long as I feel comfortable along the way, it should be fine.
I think your authenticity will always kind of like shine through, you know.
Thanks,
I think
babe. Thank you.
I do my best.
Can I tell you a funny story?
Always.
I got fired last year, and one of the reasons was because I called someone babe. Or I called people babes too much.
That's crazy.
So now I use it over the top. I'm like, thanks, babe.
Yeah.
I was with Toby Foster the other day, and he was like, you're a really good presenter. I was like, thanks, babe.
I think that's very like very suiting what you do as well, though. To be honest, you know what I mean.
I'm the worst minimum wage worker. I go through so many jobs.
But at the end of the day, you're trying to support. You know, you that starving artist thing is so true though, because if you're not starving and you've got you don't have the motivation.
Yeah.
Almost, you know what I mean. So I sort of do respect. There's not many people I know, creatives, who didn't get their start by being a minimum wage 2 days a week and then doing everything they can.
Do you know what gave me great hope is when I learned Rick Mail was working in a meat packing factory. King.
Maybe
something
I actually was so upset when he passed away, man. Could not get over it. Still to this day, check his Wikipedia to see if it's true.
No.
Yeah, it breaks my heart because he went to Manchester Uni. He
did.
Yep, he stayed in the same halls of residence as a load of my friends in Fallowfield at Victoria Park, and you know he was just every time I watch Rick Mail, it's like watching a friend. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? And I think because I was raised by Bottom, the young ones. Yeah. And he was just Drop Dead Fred. Honestly, I can't watch that without crying.
That's so cute.
I fucking love Drop Dead Fred. And yeah, he was so good as Flashheart as well.
Yeah. Do you know, I use him as like, I've used him a lot in my career as like, before I go on stage, before I'm doing anything that's like performative, I think about him. And it's not that I'm trying to be him. It's that you can tell when he's performing, he's so in his own body. And as an actor, as a thespian, that is my goal, to be in my own body. And it's why I try to meditate a lot. It's why I try to relax a lot as well. And go forest bathing, do breath work. Because I'm on a journey where I need to authentically live in the vessel that was given to me by God, by whoever. I'm very lucky to be in this vessel, and I need to treat this vessel in this way. And then when you see an actor like Rick Mail perform in the way he does, you can see somewhere he's like unlocked something in his body where he could be in the moment when you watch his work. And it's that I'm trying to follow, you know. Can I give you a recommendation?
Please.
There's a man called Stan Skinny in Sheffield, and he makes this recurring like TV series, but it's in person, so you go to see it, and every month it's like different, but it's the same show, and it's called The World of Sheds, and it's about a man who owns this shed company, and he's trying to sell all these sheds, but every month something different happens. And the very same vibe, like if you know Stan in person, reserved, very like you'd almost say shy, but then as soon as he gets on stage, something happens within this man that's just unlocks. And I look up to people like that. I would like to be like people like that. I fear I may never be like that at all. I've sort of come to accept I'm not. It's quite sad in a way. I think, you know, I'm never going to be the performer I really want to be. But I've learned over the past few months that perhaps if I'm just myself, that will be enough. You know,
you'd like to think that you're enough. You know, that's the. you shouldn't have to. If you're trying too hard, I feel like you're sort of losing already,
Yeah.
because you don't want to try and be something that you're not. But a lot of the
Yeah.
time, this, like you're saying, actors when they go on stage, me whenever I'm wrestling, like it's my wrestling character is just who I wish I could be. Just like
Yeah.
turned up to 11.
Yeah.
And being able to do that and people receiving it well, it's actually really validating. So I imagine it's a similar kind of feeling to what you're kind of going through. So I do get that. When you're going through researching your topics, and obviously you've always had this interest in history, right? How much of history can we trust?
None of it.
Yeah.
It was all made up.
Yeah.
Well, archaeologists find stuff, then they make inferences, and then they write it in a book. It's a sport. It's an art. We can make so many inferences, and then an archaeologist will find something so great that they don't even believe it's real. And they'll look at it, and it's from thousands of years ago, and they'll think, oh my God, I have the source of all of that has happened from this time period. And it will be a shopping list.
Yeah.
And they'll think, oh my God, this is
Carved into stone.
holy shit. But that is archaeology. That's what history is like. And so when I'm making a video about something, I do end up in a space where I think none of this is real. This is why when you're doing your sources, ketchup, when you're doing your sources, you want to go in and find something written by a reputable source. And even then, sometimes I'm like, you're looking at the source and the historian or whoever wrote it will say, yeah, but it's nuanced and we don't really know. And it's like, do we really know anything? And then as time goes on, we see AI on the rise and we think, is Alexandria burning once again? Because the Library of Alexandria burned down. We all mourn that. We lost so much, right? But here's an idea. Since AI has become so good you can't really spot it, information isn't real again. So it feels like we're in the Middle Ages right now.
So we've gone on a mad regression information.
It does feel that way.
That is a very, very interesting way to look at it.
I know it's very doomer of me. It's very like, do you know what? There is no point. But this is why I've been trying a bit harder recently to not use AI. I mean, the thing is, you Google something, AI immediately comes up. It's like so unavoidable.
Yep.
But then I'm going to keep going through sources and making sure things are correct. But even then, like, I'll put something out and then someone will say, actually, in 1952, my father... And it's like, should I trust a source that was placed online by a historian, or should I trust this man's father? He hasn't got a profile picture, by the way.
Yeah.
But he says his dad
and has
died on that spot in 1957 and never woke up again. And that's why there's something like that there. And I'm just like, I don't know who to trust anymore. It feels more vague, but the historians of the internet are banding together. And I have noticed that there is so much light to be had.
I think misinformation being indistinguishable from actual information is borderline apocalyptical. Like,
it sucks
because it could genuinely bring out. It could prevent things like video being admissible in court. For instance, if it gets to that stage.
Oh my God.
And the burning of that's a very interesting. Yeah, because if you're getting people now looking at actual information and being like, that's not true, that's AI.
It's annoying for me because when I accidentally put something out that's not true, like the other day in Cricks Valley Park, everything I do at the moment, I'm just having a summer off where I don't do any research whatsoever. I know it sounds bad. I just want to have fun this summer. So literally I've just been what the process at the moment. So normally the process is research a video for hours and hours, make the script, go out, perform. This summer I just wanted to have fun. This summer it's just been, I'll see what I feel like when I get there. and then I'll look up one fact from Wikipedia about one thing, and then I'll get my phone to just get a friend to record it, and then I'll say something that just comes out of my mouth. It's silly, it's improv, it's off the cuff. Like with the Crooks Valley Park, I was told many years ago by a doctor that lots of people swim in Crooks Valley Park happily, but then the next week they have loads of infections and whatnot, and they come in and they have a hard time with it. And I just loved that concept, and I wanted to use that. So I was in the pond, and I was like, the Wikipedia historical fact is there. So it's like, this is in, from 1700s, this was used. And then more of a societal fact as well. And some people get infections. That's just what happens. But you're not actually technically allowed to swim there. The signs are all around. Yeah, so. The thing is, I'm in the pond whilst I'm saying this, right? So to make it clear, I'm not against anyone swimming there. But then one of the people that goes swimming at the swimming club had a huge problem with this. Stop spreading misinformation. I'm like, oh crap, I was just having fun. Yeah.
Well, you're at that stage now in your career where you've actually got a little bit of a platform now,
It's not fair. Yeah. I just wanted to have a bit of fun. I just wanted to spread a little fact. And then also, shouldn't really do this, but I thought it was funny because I was saying you shouldn't do it whilst I was doing it.
I feel like you're holding out on me not revealing this Blue Peter badge sooner.
Okay, yeah, well, good things come to those who wait.
I see.
I'll put my jacket on.
Excellent.
I always like a good jacket.
Yeah.
With a nice badge.
That is some really high quality badge-age you've got going on though, isn't it?
Yeah. This is vintage. I never buy anything for under a tenner.
Why would you?
People think I'm really posh, they just from looking at me, but everything I wear is secondhand from charity shops.
How did you get your hands on a Blue Peter badge?
So I won it when I was about 9.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's an OG original bit of kit.
It is. And I wrote into them, I drew a picture of all of the then current presenters on the Blue Peter boat together with their dogs. And then I sent it in. About 4 months passed, and they gave me this through the mail.
Do you remember how awful it was when your favourite Blue Peter presenter would leave? It's like teachers.
Do you know what? I love that you think that.
Andy Peters was a gangster.
That's very sweet. I just never felt that way.
Yeah, fair.
And part of the reason I loved the programme was because they always left with grace. I think that's what it was.
How different are you off? Like when not because obviously you're building a brand and you've got your. I was saying before that the gimmick's always on, but how different are you away from the cameras?
It's a really interesting question because I don't really know, but I guess I don't think I can give you an authentic answer. Because I don't really know.
Okay.
Because all I feel is that whenever I am Elise, I always feel like I'm being more and more myself on screen, more than ever before. And it really pisses people off. But then I realised a few years ago that I really needed to be someone else off screen to be able to be... What I found hard was... How could I be so vulnerable and eat pizza and cry in the corner of my room when I was going through a breakup? How could that be Elise at the same time as Elise presenting on screen? So what I did was I created a character that is personal to me, and that human being has a fake name. So I've done the opposite of what people normally do.
Yeah, okay.
And Elise is the girl that lived 20 plus years of her life privately, who made all the mistakes, who's gone through all the trauma and has made it through, and she's here for you now on screen. She can be her weird self. She's allowed to be weird. She's allowed to be free. And then the girl that's off screen, she is allowed to be messy and experiment and get things wrong, right? So there's definitely a separation, but it doesn't feel like I'm being inauthentic in any of those areas.
Yeah, because it's sort of like this way to switch off, like almost like a coping mechanism sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's understandable.
Yeah. It feels weird when people tell me that I'm a character, because how I'm dressed now is how I've been dressing for a long time without anyone knowing who I was. Like secretly, across,
Okay.
you know, and people be like, oh my God, I love your outfit on the street. And that's it. It just happens. And then it was only until recently that's just become, I've just been more dedicated to dressing like this on screen. Obviously there was a time when I was trying to dress as a presenter, but then in the past, kind of when I found my style, it was here all along. And I've never felt like I'm a character when I put my head scarf on. It feels like, oh my God, I'm coming back into myself. That's what it feels like when I put on my corset and my blazer and my pearls, and I just feel so lucky and happy, and I feel almost like it's a protection. It feels like a big duvet across myself with my clothes. And it's funny because women in media lately have been, I think, exposing themselves more and more and more, which is fine. I have nothing against it, but I do feel the pressure to do it myself.
Oh, you mean physically?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, physically, like wearing less, which is, again, is fine, but I find it hard. I find body confidence can be a bit hard for me personally. I've struggled with it. And so the cure for me was to wear clothes that make me feel beautiful. And dressing as like a 1950s, 40s style woman made me feel beautiful. And that's the only reason I do it, really.
That's a good,
but it means there's no strictness about it. So I can do my makeup as a modern woman. Or, you know, I can wear a modern aspect to it. Like, I think it's even funnier when I do sometimes. Like when I'm wearing headphones and this outfit.
Yeah. Juxtaposition.
It's a freedom.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. And then when I'm at home, when I'm my own personal person, I can just wear sweats and just forget.
Well, there's no
but
rules.
It's great. Do you know, it's great when I'm out in public and I'm not wearing my clothes like I am now. Like, people just don't know who I am, and that's brilliant.
It's like a superpower.
Yeah, no, it's great.
So when you being your tour guide, are you on? Is it a part of the experience?
Do you know what? It's like the middle ground.
Tell us about your tour guiding.
So I'm a tour guide in the Peak District. I worked in Castleton. It's a village in the Peak District that's very old and beautiful. It has about 500 residents there. And I worked as a post lady there. I worked at the YHA there. I worked in Peak Cavern and just many other places there for years and years and years. And I went caving there. I've been in and around that bastard village for way too long, right? And it's shameful. I'll walk in, people go, oh, Elise, what's up? And so I love the history of it all, and I wanted to make some money, so I thought I'm just going to do what I love the most and do a little side gig. It's very much a side hustle. It's just brings in a little bit extra when I need it, and it's called Castleton Tours, and that's where I'm like, the middle ground is there, because I'm still performing, I'm still Elise, but I'm wearing casual clothes, and I'm just casually talking. It's basically what I love doing the most. It's teaching, it's tour guiding, it's learning about history, it's giving other people an opportunity to learn about the history of a really small village. And it's only £10 a head, by the way. Not to sell it, but that's the cheapest tour you can get in Castleton. That's brilliant.
Why, is there quite a racket of tour guides in Castleton?
I'm the only one, which is so cute. It's so funny because you should really be safe about, you should never post online where you're going to be. You should always keep yourself safe online. And then there's me that's just like, oh, if you want a guided tour, I'll just give you one, £10 a head. I'll be there.
So what is there to see in Castleton then?
What's the what in Castleton?
What is there to see in Castleton?
Oh my gosh, it's such a small village with such a huge amount of history. So first off, it has lots of limestone. Now limestone is a really interesting piece of rock because it's very it reacts to water. Now, the carbonic acid in water, which we can just call CO2 in water form, it runs through inside the water and it goes into the cave systems. And the cave systems are made of limestone. And so when the water runs through, it's actually that small acidity in the water is hollowing out the caves year by year by year, which actually means that the more adverse weather we get, the more the caves are being changed and hollowed out, which is just an interesting side effect. But it means in Castleton, a big chunk of limestone, it's just got so many caves in that area. So not only is that geologically interesting, because these are pieces of rock that have been around for 360 odd million years as a geological process, as a phenomenon, but we also find lots of caving in that area. So people will flood from around the country to go to this one specific village in the middle of nowhere, just so that they can get in those caves. And those caves are notorious for being very tight and very muddy. And I'm a gal that likes that. I like being in small spaces. Wasn't always like that when I started caving. My fellow cavers will know that. But it has something else which is crazy that the whole of the UK doesn't. So Castleton has... Now, I want you to try not to laugh. It's got the biggest shaft in the UK. And by that, I mean a drop that, don't you dare. Don't you dare. A drop. Imagine a drop underground that just keeps going and going and going. It is so big. We call it Titan. And you could fit the Eiffel Tower inside of this drop. That's one hell of a big shaft, if you don't mind me saying. And I do love a big shaft. I'd be the first to know. You got this. You got this, babe. We can have this conversation.
Back to you.
Back to you in the studio. I love a big shaft. Back to you in the studio. It is... I've never done it because it's so scary. It's like a choice cavers make. But that's only one part of Castleton. Castleton is surrounded by mines and mine networks, which means it's a mining village. So all of these miners are getting up really early and they're going on their 10-hour shifts underground, and they're not making very much money. But it brings about a community. They need ropes as well, these miners. So what they do is they buy ropes from a local factory. Where is the factory? In the biggest cave entrance in England. Okay, so this huge cave entrance we call Peak Cavern used to be a place where loads of people would live in there and reside in there. Not only that, they started making rope in there as a rope factory. So you can imagine the fumes and the horrible things going on in this rope factory. Not only that, the people that worked in the rope factory lived in this rope factory. So you got that going on. And then you've also got the cavers today who are finding bits and bobs underground still today. A couple of years ago, a mate of mine found some fingerprints. He found a new passageway where the last people in there were miners. And he found some buttons on the floor, perfectly aligned with where a jumper would have been, but the jumpers rotted away. And then he found some fingerprints from the miners where they were last inside. And he's, sectioned it all off now so it can be protected. And you've also got folklore coming from this village. You've got ghost stories. You've got headless horsemen. You've got a castle. You've got a very famous story of two lovers who could not get married. They wanted to elope together, but their father would not let them. So they ran all the way to Peak Forest, which is no longer here. But in Peak Forest, there was a chapel where you were allowed to get married. You didn't need your father's permission. And so they ran all the way down there. They brought all their riches with them for their new life. And they said, we'll just stay the night in Castleton, it's nearby. And as they stayed the night, they went into a pub, and they've got all of the miners in the pub as well, having their beers after a long day. And they start chatting to the miners, and they'll say something like, oh, we're getting married tomorrow morning. We are going to be at the bottom of this very oddly specific place, and then we're going to run up this road here, then we're going to go to this chapel here, and we're going to bring all of our money. Don't say that to miners who really, really need the money. Because the next morning, the miners are waiting for them at the bottom of that road, and they kill them. Yeah. This actually happened in the 1700s.
That's wild.
And they dumped their bodies down a mine shaft. Their bones were found years and years later. And what I like about the ending of that story is that karma came to each one of those miners, because the very last one who died said on his deathbed, we did it. We killed these people. And here are everyone involved. Here are all the miners' names. And you can check their names through all of the mining records. And they're all there. And each one of them had a really tragic ending. Like one of them fell off a cliff. One of them squashed by a boulder. One of them used the money they stole from the couple, bought a couple of horses. They all died within a couple of weeks. So every single miner that was involved in that murder had karma thrash them back in the face.
That is crazy. I did not know that.
You can ask me anything about Castleton. I will pop off.
You think you just did?
Yeah.
Wow. There's a podcast waiting to happen in Castleton, right? Wow.
£10 a head. Come on a guided tour. No, I am at Castleton Tours. Anyone could literally, I would do it for free, but I would love a bit of money. It's pocket money for me.
Bit of money's nice.
It's pocket money for me, and it's the cheapest tour in Castleton, so it's a win-win for everyone. But I wanted to make them as cheap as I could, whilst being able to pay for the bus fare to get there.
Yeah, of course.
So that people could have that experience of me just nattering on, because it's a deliciously historical experience.
I felt like I was there.
Thank you.
Listen.
Have you been?
No, but I need to. I've been to Skipton, but never to Castleton.
No, because Skipton is my next place that I love. God. Yeah. I love Skipton. Skipton is another limestone place. And Skipton has such a rich heritage and rich history. It's got Skipton Castle, which you may know from the Building Society, I think it's called.
Yeah, Skipton built, yeah.
Really, really old and beautiful. And what I like to do, so when I was last in Skipton, I stayed for a B&B, and then I went for a run in the afternoon. Behind the castle there's this forest, and it was like I was in heaven. Like, I couldn't describe it any other way. The fact that they've got a history of sheep. So Skip means sheep and Dun means town. So it used to be sheep towns. They used a lot of their sheep in Skipton. So they used the wall for trade. And then they were also trading limestone. Now, I know what you're wondering. How are they trading big pieces of rock? Well, they're using the canal systems. It took them, I think it took them 40 years. Don't quote me on that. But it took them about a generation to build that canal. Whoa. Which we don't really do that anymore. We like to build things real cheap and fast. But there was and
then repair them.
It's a sense of, a time when things took time. And they've got 2 prisoner of war camps from the First World War and the Second World War that are no longer there. Skipton has so much history underlying that, it's a fascinating town. You're welcome. Do not ask me anymore.
Yorkshire, eh?
Yeah, I mean, this is it. Like, you can go anywhere down south and everyone's done a historical piece on it tenfold. But you can go anywhere up north and you'll think, why has no one said anything about this to me? This is really cool. Which is why I like it.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. I would like to plug my new show called School Tripp with Miss Freshwater as the lead presenter. And Miss Freshwater is the head teacher, yes, but she is the one being taught as the celebrity guests, and maybe sometimes not so celebrity like my dad, will be teaching me about historical places across the UK. Catch only exclusive to YouTube. Wonderful. Because it's free.